Hi, welcome back to IT 3099. We want to talk about resumes, preferably college resumes. A lot of people come to college and about to graduate and don't have work experience and are worried about what their resume should look like or whether or not they're going to get a job with a resume. So we want to take a look at some resumes. Now, we're not live, otherwise we'd have 3 copies of them in class so you can write on them. But I normally call out 1 or 2 people to volunteer their resume. We take a look at it, we tear it apart. I explain what I like and don't like as far as the resume goes, and everybody has a different opinion on it. Now, remember, I've been hiring people in the IT field for quite a while now, so I know what I like to see. I know what people in my field like to see, at least that I've worked with. I know what the recruiters like, and I know the difference between an IT-based resume and a computer science-based resume. Computer science needs to list all the programming languages they understand, what they know, the level they know at, and it becomes a big cookie cutter list. For IT, I don't think we need to list out every operating system because listing Windows 2010, Windows 2012, Windows 2016 doesn't really tell me anything about what those operating systems, what you can do. I like a resume that tells me what you've done with the skills, but yet has those skills and buzzwords in there so that they can be found by search engines. Let's take a look at one resume. Now, this is one that I prefer not to use or not have you guys use. Let me pull it up here. Okay, so notice name, nice and big. Address, phone number, email. I would not recommend using your school email because, well, you're not going to be answering your school email once you're out of school, and you want to keep your resume current. My resume is current and up to date, including everything I've done up to through this year. Now, I never like an objective because it can actually limit your job options. If you tell me your objective is to become an IT server manager, and I have a security position open, but yet your objective says you want to be a server manager, well, or a server tech, well, that doesn't help me for the position I have, but yet I might like you for that position, but I won't call you because it doesn't match your objective. Here's a hint. Everyone you send a resume to knows your objective is to get the freaking job. So take that off right away. All right, now here we have a problem because we don't have a lot of experience in the field, so I do not recommend starting with experience. I would start with education, but first of all, get rid of high school. Once you've graduated high school and you've moved on, get rid of it. Notice we have an Associates of Arts of South Suburban College, so that's a good sign. All right, so education we'll leave for now. Experience, I'd like to see it below that because the experience doesn't relate to the field. Hopefully your education will. All right, skills, adaptive to change, works well with others. All right, good customer service, hardworking, work experience. Yeah, this is all BS. You know it, I know it, so does everybody else know it. Get it off of there. And of course, activities, who cares? All right. If you're going to have activities, I want clubs, I want honor societies, I want something that shows more. I love being involved in technology. It is one of the pillars of our society. No. All right, so those go off. So needless to say, not a resume I would recommend, and a resume that would have made my circular reference pile if I was a hiring agent relatively quickly. So let's get rid of this one. Don't save it. And let's pull one that's a little bit closer. I'm pulling ones that were submitted in class last year, so I didn't go through every single one to pick a couple. But this is one that's getting a little bit closer, so we're getting there. All right, so once again, name, nice and big. You want that name real big on top so they can find it easy. Okay, so notice we started with Governor State Education. All right, information technology. All right, first of all, this would be a bachelor's in information technology. All right, no graduation date. You can always put your graduation date there. So if you're going to graduate in May of 2022, you can go ahead and put that. I know maybe a little off, but we'll hope. Get that backed up a little bit. Okay, president must have gone down to the next line, so we want to make sure we get that correct. I always like an expected graduation date because if I'm sending it out 6 months ahead of time, they have an idea of when I might be graduating. Okay, now this is the tricky part here. You need these lines. And of course, you have no idea what those lines are, but this is what you've done. Treat your education as if it was a job. So what did you do that's going to apply to the job? And so configure and verify basic operations for a newly installed router. Okay. Not my favorite, but it's got the start there. Now configure and let's go. Let's go configure. And let's go set up a Cisco 2960 router and Cisco switches. Now what I've done there, I've said what I can do with Cisco routers and Cisco switches, not just that I put Cisco 2960 switch or router and listed out a bunch of hardware. I've configured and set them up. Should be configured. Configured and set up action verbs. All right, so now the search engines are going to catch the word Cisco. They're going to catch the 2960 router. They're going to catch Cisco switches. But you're going, well, I don't know what to put here. Well, guess what? We've already done that work for you. It takes a little bit more effort on your part. When we design a class, we go out, we talk to the industry professionals, and we say, what do you want the students to know? They tell us. We then design a class on what they tell us they want you to know. So what we do is we create this neat document called a syllabi. If I look at a syllabi, in this case, we're talking about a syllabi for our Windows system, CPS 4570. I picked this one because it has a good skill set in it. So let's see. Prepare and install Windows 2008 server. Okay, it's an old syllabi. All right, so make it 2012, 2016, whatever the latest version is. So prepared, remember action, and installed Windows 2016 server. Performed an unattended installation, an attended and unattended installation. So right there, that tells me you know how to install a server. You put the word Windows and the server version into your resume for search engines, but you didn't just list it. You told me what about it you did. All right, configure NTS security and configure security for shared folders. Create DFS routes and links. Once again, very good thing to have in your resume. All right, domain controllers, installed Active Directory services, and administered Active Directory objects. You can put create and administer various types of user accounts. Every one of these, now I don't recommend listing all of them out on your resume. Pick and choose, combine a few, but pick it from all your classes. So try to pick one or two of these from all your primary classes. Your server class, your Linux class, your security class, your ethical hacking classes, and pull out key phrases and key sentences about the skills that you did in the class and put them on your resume. Now make sure you can talk about what you put on your resume. So if you don't know anything about Windows 2016 server, or you forgot it all, you need to brush up on it. So when I ask you about the installation of a server, I ask you about disk, I ask you about partitions, I ask you about user objects, you can answer about it. All right, but syllabi contain all the information that you need to build a working resume from your education. So if we were to put that in here, I would fill up about half this paper with different pieces of the class. Don't give me CPS 4570 because nobody knows what CPS 4570 is. Tell me what you did in that class and get that from the syllabi. Those are what we want. All right. Now there's a debate. If you have a bachelor's degree, do you need to list your associate's degree? I'm going to go, we'll leave this one on. Associates in Computer Science, Information Technology will allow it to go. We have an internship. All right, we have some work experience. Notice we have organizations, Honor Society. All right, a member, Governor State Computer Networking Club. Actually, it's Computer Technology Club. I typed that in, so that's my fault. All right, better yet, are you an officer? All right, once again, we need officers, so email me if you're interested. Now, here's the part certifications. They know they don't have the certifications yet. You're still in school. Our recommendation is when you take a class that covers the material, during the next break, summer break, winter break, whatever it is, try to pass the certification. You've been studying that material for an entire semester. A little extra studying, you should have the certification. Also, we understand life is in the way. Bills are in the way, education's in the way, you may not have the money for it, but you know what certifications you want to get in the industry. And the resume, those search engines are looking for those certifications, such as CCENT and CCNA. So there's nothing wrong to say what date you expect to receive the certification, which is afterwards. Now, when you talk about it, when you actually get a chance to talk about it, and they go, well, why do you have an expected date for your certification? Go, well, I'm in school. Money's a little tight with family and everything else. I couldn't afford to take the certification, but I know they're important. So I wanted to make sure you knew as an employer that I was planning to take the certification and when I expected to have it by. I'm graduating 6 months later. I expect to have my CCENT. A year later, I expect to have my CCNA. Now, don't go crazy and list 20 certifications knowing you're never going to get them all, but list some of the major ones. I'd list the Cisco CCNA. I would list my Windows Server. All right, if you're doing Linux, list the Linux certification because it shows you understand the importance of certification. It puts certification on your resume so that a search engine can find it. The person who's reading your resume should see that it's an expected date and know you don't have it yet. But then if they made it that far down your resume to be reading that, there's something that they liked about you and there's something they liked about your resume, and hopefully they'll give you the opportunity to come in and talk about it. All right, so I'm hoping it gives you a little idea of what I'm looking for. Notice no objective. All right, like I said, the objective is to get the job. Everybody knows that. I have no idea why they want it on there. Now, recruiters are going to ask you for a totally different resume because they have boxes they need to check. They may say list all the versions of server you've worked with, list all the versions of Linux you work with. All right, but one of the things you notice that's not on here, and what really pisses me off for IT people, and it's a personal piss off, so it's nothing important, is on your resume, let's say you decide to do a section for skills. All right, and you list Microsoft, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever the case may be. This is totally useless. It's filler, and it better be filler. If as an IT professional or computer science professional, you don't know how to use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, that you need you think it's such an important skill that you need to put it on your resume because they're so difficult to do, yeah, think about another profession, all right? Word, Excel, PowerPoint at your level at college should be common already. Now, you may have special skills in Word, Excel, and PowerPoint because you're expected to have those skills. You're expected to know features that the normal person doesn't because you're the IT professional they're going to be looking to learn those. So if you haven't learned how to do tables in Word, learn how to do tables. If you haven't learned how to do calculations and all the fancy features in Excel, you better start learning them. If you haven't learned how to fly in animations and change over on screens in PowerPoint, you better learn how to do those because people are going to need it. Guess what? A year ago, nobody thought you needed to know how to do Zoom sessions and how to do videos, record everything, and hold meetings over the internet. And now everybody has to. Well, guess what? The big bosses didn't go, hey, I want to go ahead and learn that. They turned to the IT professional and said, hey, this is IT. You better know this skill set, and you better have gone home and learned it and come in the next day and taught it to them. So I expect keep Word, Excel, PowerPoint off your list because those are basic skills you should know. My 8-year-old niece knows how to use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. All right, so if you need to highlight that on your resume, you're looking for fluff. Pull more statements off the syllabi. All right, so the next couple weeks, hopefully I'll get a couple people to volunteer in the comments for me to review their syllabus or their resume live. I will take your name and address off, but if you want me to take your resume apart critically on video, go ahead and leave a note in the comment when you submit your new copy of your resume. Make the modifications that you think you need to. I'm not grading resumes on content, I'm grading them on submission because, like I said, this is my opinion of a resume, but think about it, I have 20 years of experience and I've only not gotten, I think, 3 jobs that I applied for, so over my career history. So I'm hoping I have a little bit of knowledge to pass on here on this. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. We'll leave up a couple discussions. Like I said, tell me to go ahead and critique your resume, and I'll get to a few of them over the next couple weeks. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you soon.